Hello, everyone. Hi, I am Polly, and I'm here with Tiara. Okay, so did I just mess that up again?
Yes, it's Tiaras.
Tiaras. Okay, I was like, wait a second, that does not sound right. I know I just asked her this.
You're not the only one. People try to leave the S off all the time. Like I
No,
promise.
I want to get it right. I gotta get it right. The way I tell people is if we can say Arnold Schwarzenegger, whatever his name is, then we can say everybody else's name correctly. So Tiaras Monet, from Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Tiaras. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
I am just so excited to have you join us for our inaugural Black Women Creatives in Sports Summit. And so, for those who are not familiar with your work, I'm just going to read off your resume, just a little snippet, because I know this does not get to everything. But Tiaras Polite is an Atlanta-based sports photographer and the creative force behind Tiaras Monet Photography. Her journey began with $5 action shots at high school games, where she developed her skills from the sidelines in real time, learning timing, emotion, and how to capture moments that truly resonated with athletes and their families. She later expanded her experience into the business side of sports, working in sponsorships. In February 2021, she made the pivotal decision to bet on herself and fully commit to photography. Today, she specializes in youth sports, high school athletics, and women in sports, creating bold, cinematic images that place athletes in the spotlight. For her, photography goes beyond the image, it's about representation, building confidence, and ensuring that athletes, especially young Black athletes and women, see their stories recognized and celebrated at the highest level. Impressive. Yes, give it up for you. Thank you again so much for joining us. I'm really excited to dive in because there's so much we can get to. But let's start at the beginning for you. What first drew you to photography, and how did those $5 high school game shots, shape your foundation?
Yes. I really just love two things about photography. I love how anything is possible and what you can create. I love that we can give 10 photographers a camera and give them a space to create, and they will all look at everything different. Our perceptions are different. How we would approach a shoot is different. And, I love the idea and the possibilities that you can create in photography. And my $5 action shots, I felt like at that time, I'm like, this is like the beginning of Instagram, I feel like, because I would say I this was probably like 2015 to 2016. So like we were just now really getting into posting ourselves, and all the athletes, they're like, oh, we want to post, we want to post. And of course, I'm business minded. Like I've always been kind of a hustler. I'm like, I'm not giving you these little shots for free. Like no one else was doing action shots in my town. So I was like, $5 is reasonable. So at the time, I was researching. I ended up using SmugMug. That was my first like photo delivery system. And every Friday night, because I originally started doing yearbook, and then I was like, I'm ready to create my own business. And yeah, I started selling them. And then I was like kind of pushing into the Savannah schools as well, because I'm originally from Richmond Hill, which is a little town outside of Savannah. And so, names started growing, and I was like, oh, okay, this is
I
this is
I
cool.
I just love it because similar to I think it's something such a simple concept, just $5. Just
Just
because I literally have a $5 coffee right here. It's just five. Okay, so when you started doing that first, let me rewind. What experience did you have with photography? How did you even learn the art of photography and then finding your niche of sports?
so I had an amazing yearbook teacher. Her name was Erin Turner. And I joined yearbook kind of just looking for something. I finally quit band. I was in marching band, and I was like, this is really a sport. It's outside. Like, this is too much. This is too much. But I really love sports. It's how me and my dad bonded. And so I was really big into sport documentaries. So 30 for 30s, And I really just loved like when they would pull old visuals, old clips, and it's like here I am, a self-proclaimed 49er fan, and all I have is these old photos. I'm looking at old Joe Montana, old Deion Sanders, and that's the only way we know how to live through our sport history is through the amazing photographs. And just even the evolution of sports photography and sports videography over the years. And it's like there's something to having an archive of those moments. You know, when we look years down the line, I feel like photos is the only thing you have for the moment. So when you are doing, when like ESPN is doing these profiles on a player, and you know, you think about how many times they don't really have old photos to pull from. Like it's getting better now, but you know all they have is that like cheesy kneeling one, you know, one knee on the ground holding the football photo. They don't really have the action. They don't, you know, we barely have the video. And so that really is what kind of got my mind rolling into youth sports photography is a big deal. There's lost moments. It's a lost art to it. And so at the time, yearbook is all about documenting the moments. It's about taking your camera. At the time, my uncle brought me my first Nikon, it was a ruby red Nikon camera, and it was a point and shoot. And I just took that camera everywhere. I'm like down the hallways, just snapping. And I eventually got noticed by my community magazine, and it was called Richmond Hill Reflections. So I was doing everything. I was going to little 5Ks, taking, and I think I just loved like where your camera can take you. And I think it was all about refining that. So when I was looking to niche down to something, I was like, I love moments, but how can we do? I love sports. Like, I want to stay in sports and I want to shoot beyond the typical. You know, that's why I really love to capture the crowd shots and the cheerleaders. Like, I think of the whole sports environment and not just the athletes itself. You want to think about the moment as well.
So many great gems for everything you're just sharing. Oh my goodness. And you know, I love the fact that you also said like you never know where your camera could take you because that really connects with what our last guest was saying, Maria Grunak. She's based in Germany, and her camera took her all the way to New York, like you know, to do photograph in a competition called Aflos. And so it's just really just incredible where it can take you. So on those early days on the sidelines, what were you learning in real time about timing, emotion, and storytelling?
Yes. I think the biggest thing in sports photography is anticipating the moment. And I know that sounds like that's easy, but it's not because you have multiple athletes on a field at one time. So I feel like every sport you have to approach it differently. Football, you are in a place where you're following the ball. So you do got to have a little football knowledge in there because, you know, if the ball is in the quarterback's hand, that's sometimes the easy moment. Like I really try to do and capture more than just that easy moment because you really got to anticipate and kind of understand how this team operates, which is why I kind of love team, like full team coverage, because you learn the players, you learn the team, and you kind of learn their dynamic. So you know who their number one receiver is, or you know um, how the running back kind of will play that out. So you really try to anticipate the moment and follow the ball. But then there's like other things. That's why I'm so intrigued by like gymnastics, for instance, because now you're getting into a thing where you're understanding skill set. Like you have to think in the mind of a gymnast. And when you're capturing photos, it's like an exciting challenge because even though I think this photo is amazing, you know, dancers, gymnastics, cheerleaders, it's all about capturing the right exact pose. You know, if they hit their mark, but their toe is like flexed and it's not, then it's like a throwaway shot. And I think that that's really what you begin to learn is timing, but then you have to, the more you go, now you have to think about lighting. You have to, like, I don't like shooting in like direct sunlight because it just makes the day harder. And I do love to edit. So when I'm going to edit, I don't really like these harsh shadows. The harsh shadows kind of like going over their eyes. You start to lose a lot of what the photo can offer in terms of the background. Like we've all seen sports images where the sky is blown out, or these things. Like a lot of my photos, you see, I love the color. I love to bring in the aspect of the field, the sky, like to tell that story that it was a gloomy day versus a sunny day. And really showing detail of their skin tones, showing detail in their jersey colors. And I think that that's when it becomes beyond just taking an action shot. And now we're getting into creating art. And that's what I love. I love to create like there's the soccer image down below. I really love to capture like her hair, kind of it, like, you know, all the hair movement, the jersey, the fierce look in her face, even her quads. Like her quads are screaming. Like I want to capture all of that. And I think that is anticipation of the moment, but also, you know, the art, the craft, the composition, the lighting, and then finally the editing. Action shots could be edited. People don't like to edit sport images, but I can't help it. Like I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Look at it. Look at the
No,
blues. Like
literally, this is stunning. Like you, it is just crisp. It is sharp. It is the lighting is perfect. I mean, and you were talking about like the sky being blue. I mean, this is I love this. The color, the contrast. Did you use flash?
yes. So these
Yeah.
both had strobes, which shooting in direct sunlight for strobes
Yeah.
is very difficult, but I actually do love it. I will say that when you're shooting like portraits outside in direct sunlight, mastering the strobe aspect to it is like ice on a cake. It
Okay, so
really
for those who are, sorry, for those who are not familiar, what are strobes? Explain to us your setup, where you position the lights.
So for these two, they're pretty similar. So strobe, so that when you're purchasing lights, you have continuous lights and you have strobe lighting. Continuous lights are, they can be used in photography, but they're primarily probably used in videography to kind of add those elements. But basically, with strobe and continuous, strobe is all being triggered through your flash. Continuous light is just staying on, kind of like similar to a ring light. But a strobe, you have, like for me, I normally am shooting in a 3 to 4 light setup. And it's all set by a little trigger that I connect to the top of my camera. Um, and it really has been a journey for me to learn how to use strobes outdoors in the sunlight. And so that is not an easy process. It takes time. So for me, I started off with 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 lights. And the biggest thing there, so I have 80, or I have Godox 8600s. And the reason why I went with 600s, that is the wattage of power in your light. And the biggest thing is being able to overpower the sun. So the sun you can use as a resource. Which is actually what I did in the softball photo here. Like I kind of just used that sun as a backlight to this athlete here. And then I just went with 1 light. So she has a light, or 2 lights actually. There's 2 lights on the side of her pointed at her, and then there's the sunlight filling in as like a backlight to her, to kind of add that separation. So it's really important when you are shooting athletes outside, just if you want to be able to maximize the image after in terms of usage, being able to create separation. So if someone really wanted to like extract that player from the background, they can do that. But anyway, so really the whole point is when you're not using flash, like sometimes you can create that look, but you want to be in control of your environment, which is why I like to use strobes. Because if I'm just shooting just my camera, no added light, I might be dealing in a flat light situation, or really just looks flat. It looks flat, and you don't really have full manipulation over your colors, over your photos, over your technique, really. So when you use strobes, you can kind of control everything. So now I'm at a place where if I wanted this background to be dark, I know how to use my strobes to create a darker background and just light the subject. Um, Kind of similar to the one below, this middle one here. Now we're using fog. Um, and then that adds into this whole thing because now I know how to light the subject. We're using light. So I'm using these gels. So gels are like artificial color that it's kind of like a sheet of paper. It's laminated and they're colors, and you can just tag them to your strobe lights in the back. And then as the fog is going on, that red color is lighting the fog. That's typically how you would do fog when you see photos like that. And so and I pretty much learned in using strobe photography. I think some people are always looking for like, so if I do this, then I do this. And if I do this, I do this. But really, I had to learn that it's all about just understanding lighting at its core, understanding how lighting works. If I add light, what does this do? If I take away a light, what happens? Because everything is situational. When we're shooting sports, everything is different. Like I have a softball team that I shoot their media day right before their tournament. So like sometimes I'm like, it's like flying, you're just kind of moving fast. You kind of need to be able to say, if this is my background, if this is my setup, I'm gonna use one light, two lights, three lights, etc., to create and achieve the shot that I'm looking for.
That is just like the most simplified version ever. Like I feel like you broke it down so perfectly where like that's like a foreign language to me, but I'm like, okay, I get it. Like this makes sense. And so when did you start incorporating all these different elements like to even like be like, okay, I could do this. I could test this out. I can master this. And now I see that you even now have made it into another part of your business where you do media days. You do this as a whole separate side of outside of your youth sports photography.
Yes. So while I really do love game coverage, that's really where I started. Um, and really, there was something too. I would get notifications all the time, especially like this like Clark Atlanta player here. Like I would get people, they're like, "Are you using strobes on the field, or is this an in-game action shot?" And there was something to that I really loved because anybody who shoots sports, like it's sometimes hard to achieve shots like this. Depending on how harsh the sunlight is or how bad the lighting is on the field, et cetera, et cetera. And so it got to the point where I was like, oh, like this could be, I would see, teams pulling out those photos and trying to use these for graphics and whatnot. And that made me think of media days. So while I was at Clark Atlanta University this past year, like under my first contract with them, part of that was doing media days. And just being able to see how important media day photos are to a athletic program. It just made me wanted to dial in deeper with that. Understanding that game photos are amazing, they're great. But when we're talking about throwing this image of this Clark Atlanta player yelling on a graphic, you can amplify your social media presence tenfold. Um, and when you scroll and you realize a lot of programs don't put emphasis on these images. So for anyone who doesn't know, media days is the one opportunity that a team would get to capture all the visuals they need for the entire season. And this happens from the pro level all the way down. Sport athletes have they have a bad schedule. Like it is packed, it's full, and it's pretty much outlined till the end of the season. So in any opportunity to get an entire team together, coaches, trainers, etc., it all happens on one day. So that's the time for a social media team to get any clips, any videos, photographers. That's where we get the headshots that they use for the league or for the website, for the roster. That's where they get any creative shots done. Like it's that one opportunity. And understanding like these don't need to be basic. Like they have to be extracted. They need to be well lit. Um, and so here, like, this is why I wanted to create this page because I feel like there's an art to media days that get lost. It should be a process. You should be able to take these and use these for graphics. Like this is the way you get your athlete to shine, and they look presentable. They look good. This is not in game, and you're kind of happening to get a shot of this athlete. You're happening to get this moment. Here we are. We're laying it out, and we're we're kind of giving them this spotlight moment to get a great headshot, a clean headshot, an edited headshot. They're getting fun poses, they're getting high energy, they're showing their personalities. And this is something that this team has all year long. They can use it for, program achievements, roster, athlete spotlights. Like that's the whole essence is that we want to know what's going on in your program. We want to know how these athletes are shining. Clark Atlanta had a defensive player of the year. We want to show those moments. And now they have an opportunity to show her year. She has great media day poses that she can use. And then we just can really complement that with game coverage. So now, like when she relives this moment in a few years, like she can really show the excitement that she had and all these beautiful moments. And so I think that's just the whole essence of there's a utility aspect and then there's the memory aspect. And I think that it's important for programs to stop trying to prioritize one over the other. Instead, it's like they deserve to have both. Yeah.
You are hired. If I had a program, if I had a program hired, like sold, yes, yes, yes. Oh my goodness, there's so many great questions coming in from the chat as well. Um, but I'm gonna like continue my set of questions first. But please continue
Okay.
dropping your questions in the chat, y'all. We will get to them, as many as them, I promise. So at the very beginning, you mentioned February 2021, the peak of pandemic. You made the decision to bet on yourself fully while we're experiencing a pandemic. So what did that moment look for you? But also, what steps did you take to turn your $5 shoots into an actual business where you can sustain yourself as a creative?
Yes. So I will say I don't have a lot of regrets in my life, but I would say my biggest regret was putting my camera down when I went to college. I kind of fell victim to the whole like, creatives, they can't make money full time. Like they won't be successful full time. You need to go get a corporate job. And I did fall victim to that. And I'm like, okay, let me get this corporate job. Let me go that route. But I knew I wanted to stay in sports. So I same thing in college. I worked for the Skyhawks. I was a team attendant, worst thing in the world. Like I will go down as the worst rebounder to ever exist, okay, in Atlanta. I worked for Georgia Tech. I worked for the Hawks. Like I did a little bit of everything. And then that's where during COVID hit, I actually was supposed to work for the Braves, like going into orientation, COVID hit. And I was like, oh, okay. But I kept grinding. Like I had really good support around me. And I ended up getting a ticket sales job with the Philadelphia Flyers. So I was preparing to move to Philadelphia from Atlanta, like right before I graduated college. I hated it. I did it for a strong 2 months. I was like, I'm not good at selling tickets. And I know nothing about hockey, which made it worse. Like I can talk football, can talk your ear off, but hockey, I know nothing. And Philadelphia fans are so passionate that I was just like, so an internship, corporate partnerships, it opened up with the Philadelphia Eagles. So I just told my manager, he was like, yeah, like I'll let's go that route. And I did that, loved it, hated Philly. Okay, it's too cold for me. It's not it for me. But came back to Atlanta, and that's when I worked with the Atlanta United team in corporate partnerships. And after a few years, I really loved what I did. I created activations and managed partnerships with Chick-fil-A, Ticketmaster, Scanner Energy, etc. And I really loved what I did. But ultimately, when you're working in an environment such as Mercedes Benz Stadium and you are every day being a part of this game day experience, and I'm also just I'm having to utilize photos and think to myself like, oh, I could shoot that. Like, what if I shot that? What if I'm like, I want to be down there? And so you kind of deal with this internal struggle of you are where you want to be, but are you in the exact position and role that I want to be? And so there was a part of me that is like, I want to see what will happen if I'm on that field. Um, and I made that pivot in February 21. To pivot to actually, why am I saying February 21? That was the date. The year was actually last year. So I am officially 1 year full-time photographer. And it's been an exciting journey. It's so as I was kind of going through that motion, like if I'm going to quit my job for real, which is crazy because I just said I care about financial stability, I'm like, okay, like okay, but I'm a planner. So it was not something that I wanted to do just wake up one day I'm going to quit my job. I thought about it a lot and then it's like how do we prepare? So I ended up finding a wonderful mentor named Mike D on Instagram. He's great and I love the whole experience. He just taught me about a embracing your shooting style. Like I think at first I was just like, is this gonna resonate? Like I'm shooting all these like portraits and they're beautiful and but people don't, like I said, people don't really edit sports photos that much, or like is this going to resonate with people? Like I'm a little different, I'm a Black woman trying to shoot sports, like how, is this popular? So that's the part of going outside of myself and connecting with others, connecting with B, who is great. And I'm like, okay, like there are other women that are doing this and they're doing it at a high level and they're really successful. And so working with him as well, it's like he's teaching me the business side, like embracing your skill set, embracing and pricing for that, understanding that your work is dope. People are going to seek you out. People are going to choose you. They're going to want to work with you. And charging your worth is its own thing, but believing that you should be in the spaces that you are, like that's a whole nother thing. And that's probably what I got the most out of our interaction together. And even now I'm working with a marketing strategist and I'm really looking to elevate my media day experiences. And that doesn't just happen overnight. Like it's really a thing of not just like for me, I never wanted to look at this as just a business. I always wanted to do things that still followed my passion, and creating images like this is something that I wanted to stay true to, and continue to embrace in this journey. So yeah.
No, I mean, you said so many good things here, and I just want to pick a little bit more about the business aspect because taking that leap is scary. Doing it in the midst of everything that's going on is something else. But I love how you said you are a planner. And I'm pulling back up your site because this is one of the best sites I've seen. Because I feel like what a lot of creatives and photographers struggle with is how to market themselves, how to like take all that's living up in here, like and translate that on paper for people, potential clients can understand, okay, what do you offer? What can I expect from it? What is the experience you're providing? And you lay it out so well. So I'm just gonna show folks what I'm talking about here because first, because I think especially when you are offering different things, that's where people can get confused. Okay, like what exactly can I hire you for? What exactly does each thing look like? But I love how you broke it down here. And I want to talk about like, for how did you evolve from those $5 shoots to like rates that reflect your value today? I mean, how do you even set rates for like a media day when you're dealing with multiple people, a whole team of people? And then you mentioned a little bit about like how you are finding this work, but can you talk to us a little bit more? Like, are you pitching yourself directly? How do you go about contracts when you're working with schools and teams? And that's a million different questions in one, but yes.
Yes. So I do get this question a lot about the business side of sports photography. And when I'm addicted to like Facebook groups and I'm in all of them. And this is the number one topic. And what I found, so I believe I'm the first sport photographer to work with my mentor. And I think a little bit he was even confused, like with all, because it's not a one stop shop fit at all. And I felt like when I was trying to figure this out, I realized there's no standard for sport photography. You can look at wedding photography, newborn photography, maternity, etc. And there's all of these proven ways to maximize your profits, build your business, connect with clients, but it's just not there for sport photography. I think that they're all over the place. Photographers, there's no standard. Photographers are charging all types of different. And so for me, I had to just think about what I wanted to be. I knew that I didn't want to be like accessible to every person. So no more $5 action shots. Um I wanted to kind of position myself as a professional business sport photographer, not someone that's just showing up to every event. There's like this aspect where for sport photographers are like, I shot a whole game, I uploaded it to a link, and nobody's buying, because why would somebody buy something they can screenshot? Like I had to think through all the things that I saw that wasn't working. And I'm like, I'm not going to do the same thing. I want to completely look at my business the same way a branding photographer would work. Like, why are we overcomplicating it to the point of trying to fit every team? Because if we really deep dive, a high school team operates different than a travel ball team. A rec team they operate all differently. How money is spent is differently. How we're paid is differently. A travel ball team, their parents may come together and say, hey, Tiaras, we're going to pay this invoice. Everybody pulled in. A high school team is paying through the county, and there's all of these different things that I just can't worry about, because that's how we really overcomplicate what we're doing. And so number one, I knew I wanted to niche down. I know that's a debate for a lot of photographers on whether they should niche down or not, but honestly it was the best thing I could have done, because I like to say I'm probably one of two sport photographers in a social group, right? Like if you ask someone, oh, do you know a sport photographer? A lot of them are going to say no. And if they say yes, it's probably me. And there's something about positioning yourself as that person. And then the one step further is I'm not just a sport photographer. I know how to work with strobes. I can do media days. And so it's like I have that, I'm very proud of myself for learning both and positioning myself, because I don't do videography. And I know people also say that to me, like, you should learn videography. And maybe one day I will. But I really appreciate the fact that you don't have to do both. Like, be an expert in one, like showing you, hey, I can take this off your plate. I can do the game coverage. I can do your media day. I can do creative. I can do a white backdrop. And to me, that's where you show your value. You show your value, and I can tell parents, my media day is set up like this, and here is why. It's
Mhm.
I set it up like this because you're going to get the maximum amount of shots. We're going to move quickly, we're going to move efficiently. And I think that is how you change the perception of photography and youth sports. Um, when I show up to a lot of different stuff, you can tell what people have experienced in the past.
Mhm.
When I show up to shoot 8-year-olds and I got at least two strobes, and parents are like, oh, you're bringing all of that. And I'm like, yes, we're not just taking iPhone point and shoot photos over here anymore. Like, that's not, I think youth sports is evolving. These kids are talented. They are entering this thing where they actually have to care about their profiles, how they're perceived.
Mhm.
Nobody wants basic stuff anymore. Like, those days they're honestly over. I mean, kids were experimenting with fog and fire. Um, we're moving into a time that is just different. And so I like to show up in a space with my youth parents, with my coaches and whatnot, and kind of showing how you guys used to do things. We're not
Mhm.
doing that over here. And I'm going to tell the coach to come take their photos. I'm going to, like, it's really, I'm not going to say I'm telling them what to do, but you really have to position yourself like the expert. Like, I'm telling you guys,
Yeah.
this is what's going to work.
Mhm.
Um, and really just taking that whole process off of them. And so kind of just going back to the business side of it is learning. Like, I had to sit down and say, with everything I'm putting into this, how do I want to price? I think often we're also like programmed to think about what others can afford or what others can do. We're in a place where, like, sport photography or sport parents, they're already in the mindset of spending. I hate to say it like that, but they are, because they're getting into travel ball. They have to do trainings and all of these things. The parents are in a place of, I want to invest in my athlete. Show me how I can do that. Because if I go through all of this to get them trainings and they're going all the way up, but I have nothing to show for it, I don't have any photos, I don't have any videos, I don't have any highlights. For them, it's kind of like a waste. So I don't think parents at this point, like, they're afraid of spending. They just want to know what they're going to get. They want to know the value. They want to know these visuals are going to live on. They're going to be able to utilize them. And so that's what I want to show them. So being able to outline for them what you're going to get. Um,
No, I think you do that so perfectly. Like I said, like there's like the way you just break it down, even saying this is what sets me apart. Like you show the full experience and you break down the investment, why you, why this, what you can expect. I absolutely love it. And when it comes to just like getting those clients, um, I guess take us back to like your first clients. Like, how did you land those first clients and then turn them into repeat clients? And what does it look like for you from like the beginning to the end? Like, what is that client experience, and how should photographers approach that in order to maintain that like those repeat clients?
so I would first say, like, in my process, the first thing was building the portfolio. I don't think that you can skip that step. So that does mean maybe doing like highly discounted work, highly doing free work, and really honing in on your editing style, your shooting style, because you also want to be able to promote consistency. There are times that I've had clients that say, like, I hired one photographer, he was great, but we were shooting in the daylight, and then he shot football for me at 10 o'clock, at 8 o'clock at night, and they were dark and they were whatever. So being able to say I can shoot in multiple lighting scenarios and everything like that and still provide consistency in what you see is number one. And then from there, that's when you start putting yourself out there. So my first team that I contracted with was Lithia Springs High School. Came out, did a couple practices, and then signed my first contract to cover their entire football season. And from there, I started to, that's when you're posting and your network is growing, you're showing up to all these different events. And I ended up working with Lithia Springs that second year, as well as picked up Westlake High School football. And so now I'm getting more comfortable in working with these teams, honing in on that style. But now I'm understanding how teams work. So at that point, I'm like, okay, do I still want to do team coverage? Do I want to do individual? Um, and what that kind of like spark was for me was Lithia Springs asked me to cover their flag football team as well. I ended up, the other team that I was playing, there was a mom there. And this is probably 3 years we've been working together now. She found me on that flag football team. And she's like, I saw your work. And she's one of few moms that understand the whole essence and the expectation of having quality photos. She's like, you shot this game flawlessly. Like, I don't have any blur. Like, you shot this game at night. The photos are beautiful. They're action. They're clear. It's quality. And she has worked with me ever since. So when she booked me to cover, so it's like she booked me probably like the next week or so to come out and cover just their team for flag football. And her daughter is a multi-sport athlete, so I cover for flag football. Then she's like, oh, I want you to come out to my daughter's travel softball team. So now I'm working with their 16U travel softball team. I did their headshots, I did their game coverage. And how the flow works is the travel softball team, they see my work now. And how like travel softball teams, there's a 16U and there might be an 8U all the way to 18U. So now those other teams are seeing and they're like, wait, where these photos are great. And I will say in sports photography, like social media is great, but the real essence is client referrals. As I tell people, like, you can never just walk up to a fence at a baseball park or a football field and just start snapping. These are children, so there's still this level of protection in there. So it's far greater. It's a lot more respectful. It makes the parents more comfortable when they can find someone that someone else trusted. Another mom trusted to be around my kids. Another mom trusted to photograph my kids. And so being in this network of moms who care and really embrace sports photography, they're their own, that's my own network. I've had referrals back to the teams where they're like, my daughter plays, because travel softball teams, their kids play everywhere. So, they're like, oh, I want you to come to my school. Oh, I want you to come to my school. I want you to photograph my daughter's last flag football season here, or my last daughter, and that's how that grows. And that's what I really, really do appreciate, that my moms are speaking my name in rooms that I'm not in. They're constantly, she even did a raffle. She bought a raffle to like have my services raffled off. Those small things is building the network. So I
I
will
love that.
say
That is so cute. I love that.
it's
Oh,
client Instagram is great. And I really try to say I use my social media to really share my behind the scenes, share my process. But
that's actually
moms in real life is where it's at.
no, no, seriously. Actually, and sorry to cut you off there. I was gonna say actually part of why I love your website, but also just the way you sell your brand. Like it's very clear. It's very like, oh, this is you, and you have this like distinct voice with it. And like you said, that translates into real life. What do you feel are some maybe like underrated or whatever tips that you feel has worked for you when it comes to marketing and building your brand that photographers creatives should be using more, and early on were there like any business mistakes or lessons that you learned from maybe the hard way but you learned from early on when it comes to those first clients and contracts?
So the first question I would say professionalism and authenticity are those two things. Um, Professionalism is important because one bad experience, you kind of lose that trust in a parent, you know? So how you show up, how you communicate with them, because like I said, a lot of sport photographers aren't business savvy. They think they can just like come in, photograph, don't really market, don't really build connections. And that only gets you so far. I think that my client experience, when a client reaches out, I use Honeybook as my CRM. So, you know, they're
And what's
not
the
just paying
CRM for those who don't know? What's a CRM?
client, what is it? Client relationship management or something? What CRM mean?
It's okay.
Anyway,
It's okay. Just like, yeah, go ahead.
and so through Honeybook, they're a great CRM system where it's where I send invoices, contracts. You can send proposals. It's just a very one-stop shop. Um, and it also you can also build automations through that. So I try to make that aspect even personal, but still I want them to know that I'm still connecting with them through the entire process. So, you know, I think a lot of them are used to their son coming and they're like, hey, I got this photographer and they want $50. Can you send me some money? I can send it to them. I don't like any of that. Okay. I'm like, I'm going to send you an invoice. I'm going to send you a contract. And then there's that click that like, oh, she's a little different. Like she not just asking for a cash app here. Um, so when they reach out, I send them whatever they're booking. So if it's a media day, they get this nice media day proposal. Yep, client relationship management. That's what I thought. Anyway, um, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So if it's a proposal, the media day, it shows all these beautiful examples, photos. It outlines the packages you receive. You would click that. And then there's all these add-ons, okay? Because we're full-time photographers. This is how we have to kind of maximize these opportunities. I'm selling banners, additional edits, a hype video, whatever you want. We can add and plus up your experience. But then there's this part. They can pay their deposit for their invoice, sign their contract. So now they're understanding, okay, we're very professional. This is not just a quick booking process. Well, it's quick, but it's intentional. It's intentional booking process. And then once they pay their deposit, locks that in, now there's this questionnaire. So now I have to put it back on you to work with me here, okay? Because I don't want to show up unprepared. And I want you to know that I'm being intentional about that. So, including a roster. So, when I give you your gallery back, I can separate them into different sets, you know? So, athlete A, athlete B, athlete. You don't have to scroll through a whole gallery of 300 photos, you know? It's those small things. Delivering the photos through Pixie Set. So all these little investments make a difference in how this client is experiencing. Like I would say, you know, my SID from Clark, he's like, I appreciate this because normally I'm getting photos through WeTransfer, Google Drive, and all these things aren't really uh they're not really client friendly. Like you got to download all 300 photos. Like they don't want that. They want to be able to look through a gallery and be like, I like this one, favorite. And it's all about that. So when I'm pricing, I'm not going to undervalue myself. And that leads me into the mistake is undervaluing, underpricing myself. I do a lot. Like I sometimes have to think to myself, like you do a lot to really make this process easy and seamless for your clients. So yeah, another photographer might be charging 125 to shoot a game, but I'm charging 400 and $500 to shoot a game because I'm coming up, I'm shooting, you know, I'm arriving early, I'm covering the game in its totality. I'm editing these and I'm sending this back to you in 24 to 48 hours. If I'm going to do all of that, like I have to that's when you have to value yourself. You have to value what you do. And that point, you're now attracting clients that really also understand the value because it connects. Like somebody, and the biggest part of it all was, as I like to say, I don't want somebody working with me who is just requesting somebody with a camera. I want somebody that is like, I saw her work. Her work was amazing. I want to work with her. I've heard great things about her, and I'm going to work with her. I'm choosing her. I don't want someone that's like, oh, I just need somebody to cover this game and drop 5 photos, because you're not getting 5 photos. You're getting 200. And I need you to understand that it's that deep to me. It's that important to me. So I say that to say my business is really built on intentionality, and passion. Honestly, I want you to know that you're working with somebody that cares about how their athlete is shot, and really embraces the process. Like, they're just not a number around here. Like, I'm going to ask your daughter when I come capture them, like, what's your best side? What are you comfortable with? What are you not? Do you want me to, I'm going to fix her hair out of the way. I'm going to tuck, because we all have our own little thing. And I think a lot of the times this process can just seem a lot more like just getting them through. And that's where I have to
Mhm.
slow my clients down. I'm like, I mean, we can shoot this in an hour, but it won't be fun. It won't be fun. It won't be intentional, but
No,
sure.
I really just I love the way you just break your process down and attention behind every aspect. I mean, even the way you utilize social media, I can see there's intention beyond it too, with just that too. But you said earlier about like who you love to photograph and why outside of like the youth, you are very intentional about highlighting Black athletes and women. Why is that mission so personal to you?
Yes. So when I was, so it would be two things. So I will say, growing up, there's a lot of things that we start to see early on, but like we don't question it. So we all remember playing a sport, and if you're on the women's side of things, there's less people coming out to watch your game, to celebrate you, etc. And fast forward to a couple years ago, I was shooting the high school football championship. And I remember I was going to shoot the coin toss. There were like, I will not lie, there had to have been 30 photographers surrounding me. Like, we're at the coin toss, it's only two players each team, the referees, and I mean, it is a swarm of photographers surrounding us. I got so overwhelmed. I was like, why am I here? Why am I here? Like, it was so many people. And of course, there's people like, you got to just get in there. But what are we shooting? Like, we're all gonna take the same photos. You're not gonna, this is that one moment where I take that back. We are all gonna shoot the same perspective, the same photo. And I was like, granted, I was just here for the flag football games that morning. Crickets. I mean, it's probably like two photographers each sideline, like nothing. And that's where it clicked for me, like, why am I here? Like, why am I here? Why am I trying to shoot football right now? Yes, I love it. I love the sport, but I feel like I'm trying to compete with other people for something that is like, this isn't even meaningful to me? And so there was this switch of like, and coupling with that, this is the time where I'm like meeting that mom who has a daughter and has an amazing athlete who doesn't get photos. And so that these two things clicked for me, where I was like, that's my lane. That's where I need to be, understanding that, hire women to shoot women's sports. And so that's where the priority came for me. I want to shoot more softball. I want to shoot more baseball. I want to, or softball and more gymnastics, shooting cheer. Because one thing when I go, I love HBCU sports. I love sports culture. And so when I go to a game, how I actually started shooting portraits was shooting Mahogany Emotion, which
Mhm.
is Morehouse band dance team. And I'm like, I loved every aspect. I think they just look beautiful, making them look powerful, like, and understanding they don't have great photos of them. There's no great photos of the cheerleaders, all these things. And so I was getting to the point where like, okay, we can shoot baseball. I'm not gonna X those people out completely. If you hit me up to, to photograph your son, sure. But the true stories were these women athletes. And even deeper than that, imagine I had some of my softball girls come and they're like, I'm going to college and my college team doesn't have a page. There's no page presence. So now
Mm,
they're like, I want you to, are you going to come? Are you going to come to my college and take some photos of me still? And, I think that's so disheartening for a D1 college athlete to go to a D1 college program, and they won't see themselves, right? Like they're going to do all these amazing things, but they're going to get lackluster graphics. They're going to have lackluster photos because the program probably won't even give them budget to have somebody cover them for a full season. So they're going to probably get like 3 games out of a whole year. And that's actually the reality. It's more of that happening where I have parents like, the program won't pay for coverage. Can you come shoot my child? Like, that's our reality. And so
wow.
I'm going to be available for that. I don't want to
Yeah.
take my whole day off, off the
Yeah.
calendar to shoot a football game. If I can go shoot 2 softball games, I'd rather do that.
And I have to just say, I don't know if those who are listening right now can feel it, but your energy, Tiaras, like it is just incredible. Like you exude this joy and confidence that I'm just like, it's contagious. And I want to know, like, how do you then create that same confidence in the people you photograph because they are kids, they are youth? Like, how do you build that experience, that intentional experience for them?
So I have a couple of rules that I like to say is like one of them. So I don't know if you've ever scrolled and you see a photographer post a woman athlete and it's just not the greatest. Like their mouth is open, their eyes a little like half. And the thing about it is that photographer is more so caring about his shot and he's not caring about the woman in that photo. We're women. We things that we care about. A man might not notice, he may not care, but the biggest thing in how we show up confident is how we look, how our hair looks, how we look. And so, like, I would say I had a softball player. She was a pitcher and she hated every photo. She hated every photo because when she pitched, she would like, her tongue would hang out. It would be something I can't remember, but she hated it. And that's the photo that, so what is the point of shooting somebody that they'll never post it? That's the number one thing. If somebody never posts a photo, that's because there's something they're doing is something that they hate. I don't care how great the photo is. If she doesn't look great, and sometimes I ask them because I notice everything. If I'm like, she is not posting any of these photos, let me go ask her. And that's where you learn, like building that connection of saying, like, okay, and you have to take your pride out of it because I'm like, that's a great photo. But I had to get on, like, understand if every photo that was captured of her, she hated, she didn't think she looked beautiful. I had a little girl at a Nike camp. I showed her a photo and she was like, I look ugly. I got to put my picture out, like my picture gear on. Broke my heart. I'm like, she's never seen herself photographed ever. Like, if you've never seen yourself photographed as an athlete, you don't know what that looks like. You don't know. And so I think that part is okay. Well, let's take a couple more till you do. Cause I don't want you to feel like you got to hide behind your gear to feel confident as an athlete being captured. And so a lot of that is just really talking to them. And sometimes it's even the edit because if I have a close up shot of this athlete, but even something as simple, she has like acne problems, we all been there as 10-year-old girls. I'm not going to do the full fledged like retouch, but I'm going to try to help her out a little bit because I want her to feel confident. I want her to post that. Like, sometimes you're not in a situation where you can do that all the time, but it's just taking that extra step of like care treating people how you want to be treated. We were all there, and it's like um the confident portion is like, and that's why like a lot of my photos, I capture the shots where they look powerful. I want them to look powerful. I want them to look beautiful. I want them to look confident. I don't want them to look like they biting their lip because they're, even if that's their tail, if this gets captured and they go all the way to the WNBA, like I don't want them pulling these terrible photos of these girls. Like, we hate that. Like, I'm like, I see some of the photos and they're blurry, they're terrible. And I'm like, because that's probably all they had. That's all they had were those photos.
No, you said so many real things there, and I cannot believe we're almost at time. So just gonna ask you some rapid fire questions. I'm so sorry if you can stay on for a few more minutes, because we have some great questions here from folks. You mentioned earlier that you know about people who inspired you, like B, and you also have a mentor. How do you find a mentor that fits you?
Mm. I think you both have to choose each other. So you have to know what it is you're seeking. Um, for me, I did not want another sport photographer, low key. As far as the business side, I did not want that because I wanted someone to think differently, push me differently. Because if I talk to another sport photographer who's also having trouble pricing himself, also having trouble showing their worth, why would I, why would, now we're both going to be sitting here lost. I really wanted to go to someone who was where I want to go. Like, I want someone who is an expert in what they do, someone that's very knowledgeable, someone that's going to push me because I remember one conversation we had. I was like, I don't think somebody gonna pay that, Mike. Nobody, I don't think they're gonna pay that price. And he's like, well, have you asked them? No. Okay, well, ask them. It's stuff like I need someone that's gonna push me because I'm stubborn, but I'm like, I could if you reason with me, I will take the chance. So yeah, you have to really look for someone in that way. And then yes, I really want to continue to grow and network and really talk to other sport photographers, especially women sport photographers, and how they're navigating. Because I feel like I do want to find a mentor like that.
Another question, and I'm sorry, I'm just gonna ask these rapid fire
Okay.
because since we're at time, another question here is, what advice would you give someone who wants to break into sports photography with limited access or resources?
Okay, so I will say quickly, there is a sport event happening every single day, probably 3 or 4 times a day. Um, you have to put yourself out there, even with a simple point and shoot camera. Like, don't be intimidated by not having all the latest equipment. Don't even look at it. You find ways to create art with what you have, and you would be surprised what people will resonate with. And some people may invest in you. Like, I've had teams that are like, I'll give you some equipment if you can continue to do what you're doing. Like, put yourself out there and don't shoot the obvious. If you're like, I can't get into this football team, go to the soccer team, go to the softball team, go do something other people aren't and make your mark in that space.
So true. Another question here. If a young Black girl told you she wanted to be exactly where you are one day, what would you tell her to do starting tomorrow?
Um, I would tell her to go, same thing. I would tell her to go find her lane and embrace it, and don't compare. The biggest thing is comparison. Do not compare. Um and show up as yourself. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing for me. Like, I've had other Black women come and they're like, I love that you wear your natural hair out. I love that you put on a tennis dress, or you have on cargo pants this other day. Like, show up authentically, show up as yourself. Embrace being a Black woman, whether you have locks, whether you have a big fro, whatever it is. Because you never know who's watching and who really loves that intentionality in itself.
What skills beyond photography have been most important to your success?
What skill?
Yeah, what skills beyond photography?
Oh, beyond photography. Um, my ability to talk. I'm a talker. So I feel like when I am talking to people, I can really pull you into my vision. And even though I'm telling you, talking your head off, or even if I'm, just speaking passionately to a parent's talking to me, I can talk to her for like 30 minutes. Like we're gonna really start to resonate with each other on our own level, and because I can talk to anyone. So that's probably my greatest skill set. That builds that trust there because I can understand what she's going through. I can understand what her athlete is going through, and I'm going to create solutions, but also like make her feel comfortable, like she's talking to a real person.
I love that. Another question here. How do you balance technical skill with storytelling in your images?
Um, mm, I feel like okay, this might be something I probably struggle with because do I'm not gonna lie. The way I feel about a sun is very important to me. Like I will try. I'm like I'm gonna try to find the best angle so I can get the perfect shot because I hate going and trying to edit a flat image. Like that's just not me. It don't pop up out the screen. And so sometimes you do have to understand, like, okay, we gotta get the shot. If I'm shooting track and field and the sun is right behind them and I just cannot get over this, I'm just gonna have to still shoot the shot, but also tap into that. So I know how to shoot when I have a sun issue, but I just don't love it. But we can do that. And so I think you just have to find that middle ground. So now I'm like, okay, if I got to shoot like this, at least let me not blow the sunlight out. So understanding, like I said earlier, like using strobes, you just have to know the fundamentals. Like don't try to go into, oh, if it's a direct sunlight, I'm using this exact settings. You need to know how the sunlight works. You need to know your camera equipment, know what it can handle, what it can't, and things like that.
What is in your camera bag?
mm, I'm an overpacker and I have a really large Pelican case. If I'm going to a game, I often can't choose. I'm going to put the 400 in there, the 300 in there, because I might need to see which one I'm more comfortable with that day. I'm going to have my Canon R6, my Canon R3. I'm going to have one flash just in case I want to get artistic or we got like some locker room shots or something. And I'm going to have lots of batteries. I'm gonna have a snack. I'm gonna have like an applesauce pouch and like some pumpkin seeds or something. Water bottle, probably an energy drink, and SD cards. Oh, and a 70 to 200 and a 28 to 70. I overpack.
No, I love that. You gotta stay ready. Do you have a dream team or athlete you love to shoot?
I know what I said, all that I just said, and I would love to shoot the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, that's just my team, and I need to go shoot it. But I would really love to shoot Coco at an event. I would really love to do that. That would be my second. But if I could shoot the 49ers for a game, I would be so excited.
I cannot wait to see what you do with that. I'm sure you will. Another question. Photography is all about balance. What is your idea of switching off to reset?
Oh, I struggle with this. I struggle. But honestly, if I could just have one day to do all my self-care, I'll be okay. Okay. If I could just sit in a salon chair, have somebody do my hair while I'm not supposed to be working. So maybe I'm not working. They just doing my hair and I'm cutting off and I can go get me a facial and get my nails done because I really do love getting my nails done. And that would probably, I just need one day. If I just have that one day and then go to sleep early, come home, watch my shows, go to sleep. That would be a great ideal day. But it's hard to find balance. We shoot sports, we got to edit. Like, I might shoot this game for 4 hours. I got to go home, cull it, edit it, and do it all over again the next day.
Listen. I know that too. I don't choose sports, but I photograph in politicians, and yeah, it's like the same thing. No day is the same. Tiffany says Niners are my team too, with a lot of exclamation marks. Cameron says, just saying you are awesome and brilliant, and this is so inspiring. And one last question from you, for you from the audience here: who or what inspires your work today, and what legacy do you hope to leave through your photography?
Forward progress would probably be my inspiration. I think that the fact that we're in a place where we are embracing our youth, our youth athletes, our women athletes, like I think that this time is really about figuring out how to spotlight them, how to keep showing up for them. Like I was just telling one of my moms, like I would love to create graphics so that these teams can use my work appropriately, right? Like they don't have graphic designers. A lot of these teams can barely afford me, let alone now they have to get the photos and afford a graphic designer. I would love to create these template graphics that they can just easily be able to use, because if they're the defensive player of the year, I want them to be able to post that. I want that athlete to get that moment. And so my brain is always working on how I can do that, how we can like eliminate this gap, put more photographers on those fields. In a perfect world, I would get to the point where I'm building up these female sport photographers to go out and fill up the sidelines at all of these events. That is what I would love to do. And what was the last part?
I feel like you kind of touched on it. It's like, what legacy you want to leave behind, and
Oh,
who inspires you. Yeah.
love
Um,
that.
no, you were totally fine. Okay, my absolute last question for you, Tiara, is what are you currently learning, unlearning, or refining in this season of your career?
I am learning to embrace my journey. I have that issue a lot where I'm constantly like the perfectionist in me is constantly trying to get to the next thing, open myself up to more people, bring my work to more teams. And I have to learn to embrace the journey that I'm on. Like we're doing all these amazing things. Like I'm shooting the World Ninja League in a couple of months. Like, what is that? What is that? I'm so excited, but I need to embrace those moments. I
Okay,
need
okay,
to.
you got to do a takeover for us. Like, what is? Yes, I love that.
So yes, embracing the journey. That's what I'm learning. I'm learning to control what I can control, embrace the journey, and have fun. Have the fun and not just thinking about being this full-time business side of this, and just continue to create.
Tiaras, you are amazing, a breath of fresh air. Love this conversation with you. Is there anything you would like to share with us before we go?
No, I just appreciate this opportunity. I really hope I was able to. I know I yapped a lot, but I really hope you found the gems in it. And I just love for all of you to follow me, connect with me. I love to hear from y'all, and yeah, excited to
I can't believe
continue.
this was your first speaking engagement. You are amazing. I mean, Tiffany says here, such great work and an amazing presentation. I hope to meet you soon. I'm here in Atlanta as well. Love your energy. Nissy, I hope I said your name right, says super helpful. And as Cameron said earlier, inspiring, just amazing. Thank you so much, Tiaras, for a
Thank you.
great conversation. And I'm looking forward to that ninja. World Ninja. Okay, yeah, we'll talk later. I'm looking forward to that. You got to do a takeover for us for that. But thank you so much again, Tiaras. I really
Thank
appreciated this conversation.
you. Bye.
Bye.